Today we are going to discuss about adverse drug reaction management.
Introduction. It
Introduction.
describes the
It
procedure for
describes the procedure
identifying,
for
recording,
identifying,
and reporting of
recording, and
adverse drug
reporting of
reactions
adverse drug
and
reactions
serious
and
adverse
serious
reactions.
adverse
It also
reactions.
describes the
It
procedure
also
for
describes the
reporting
procedure for reporting
suspected,
suspected,
unexpected, serious
unexpected,
adverse
serious
reactions. We call
adverse
it as a
reactions.
SUSAR. Abbreviations: AE, it is adverse event. AR, it's adverse reaction. SAE, serious adverse event. SAR, serious adverse reaction. SUSAR, suspected unexpected serious adverse reactions. CTIMP, clinical trial of an investigational manufacturing product. NIMP, non-investigational medicinal product. Definitions: adverse events. It is an untoward medical occurrence in a patient or a clinical trial participant administered an investigational product and which does not necessarily have a causal relationship with the drug. Adverse reaction. All untoward and unintended responses to the IMP related to any dose administered to the participant. We call it as adverse reactions. Suspected unexpected serious adverse reactions, SUSAR. So the trial protocol or investigational brochure should include a list of known side effects for each drug in the study. This should be consulted when a serious adverse reactions occur to determine expectedness. If the event is not listed or has occurred in a more serious form or more frequently than expected, it should be considered to be a SUSAR reaction in the particular patient due by any drug. How to identify these adverse events? The trial protocol should define how AEs will be recorded and state that all serious adverse events will be reported to the sponsor. Adverse events may also be identified by supporting documents, for example, clinical biochemistry, hematological reports of the patient, and radiological identifications of the patient condition. The protocol should also state whether any NIPS are to be supplied to participants in the trial. The procedure for notifying such adverse events to clinical investigator or principal investigator must be clearly documented in the trial protocol. How to assess adverse event? Adverse events must be assessed for seriousness, casualty reaction, expectedness, and severity of reaction. It is the responsibility of the clinical investigator or principal investigator to assess each adverse event for seriousness, casualty, expectedness, and severity of the drug. The sponsor should review if a SAR reported to them is expected or not. If the event is not expected, it will be considered as a SUSAR, assessment of severity. The clinical investigator or principal investigator or delegated medically qualified research team member should make an assessment of severity for each adverse reaction. The assessment should be recorded on the serious adverse event form and reported to the sponsor according to the following categories. The categories are mild, moderate, severe. A reaction that is easily tolerated by the subject is come under mild. A reaction that is sufficiently discomforting to interfere with normal everyday activities of the patient we come into the category of moderate. A reaction that prevents normal everyday activities of the patient may come under a severe category. Reporting of adverse reaction. While reporting the adverse reaction, the below things should be included in the reporting form. First thing is patient details, that is initials of the patient, gender of the patient, age and date of birth, weight, height of the patient. Suspected drug related information, generic name of the drug, the indication the drug has been prescribed to the patient, and dosage form and strength of the drug, daily dosage and regimen, that is the how much of drug has been given to patient or participant in regular basis, and route of administration of the drug, start date and time of the uh, medication, stop date and time of the medication or duration of treatment, and other treatments which are provided to the patient for concomitant drug usage. Suspected adverse drug reactions of the drug. The full description of reactions including body site and severity of action, as well as the criteria for regarding the report as serious. Whenever possible, describe a specific diagnosis for the reaction. Start date and time of onset of reaction, stop date and time of duration of reaction, outcome information on recovery, results based upon the specific test and also the treatment. For a fatal outcome, cause of death and its possible relation to the suspected reaction, any post-mortem finding should be reported. Any other information relevant to facilitate assessment of the case, such as medical history or allergy, drug or alcohol abuse, family history of the patient, findings from special investigations, etc. Investigator. The details of the investigator should be recorded in the reporting form, like name of the investigator, address of the investigator, telephone number, profession, date of reporting the event to licensing authority, that is date of reporting the events to ethics committee overseeing the site, and signature of the investigator. Responsibilities of sponsor. The serious adverse events should be reported to the licensing authority within 14 calendar days. Submit status report to the licensing authority periodically. The responsibility of investigator is he has to ensure adequate medical care is provided to the subject, and serious adverse events and unexpected adverse events should be reported to the sponsor within 24 hours and to the ethical committee within 7 working days. He has to monitor, that is regular reporting of adverse events is done through data collection in case report forms. It is important to have a documented baseline assessment that is detailed with health history and current health issues prior to exposure to the investigational drug or product in the patient or participant. As the participant is exposed to the investigational product, it is must to document any changes in health that may be due to the research study product and report these adverse events through normal data collection tools provided by the sponsor. The key information required for reporting of adverse reaction. Participant demographic information, when the participant started the research study, what research intervention the participant was receiving, or previous medical history of the participant, concomitant medications used by the participant, last exposure to investigational drug product of the in the participant, abnormal labs or diagnostic checks of the participant, when the event was notified, description of the actual event and relation of the adverse event to the investigational product, or whether the participant has hospitalized, when the event has resolved or not, whether the participant will be removed from the research study or continue to receive the research product. Thank you.